And I am calling the meeting to order at 7:01. If everyone would like to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
What a great audience.
Yes,
we
it
have out
is.
there.
Mr. Mellon. While Mr. Mellon works on that, I would like to have Miss Kathy Nelson please step up to the microphone up front, please, and thank you. There we go. Now we have it.
What she's doing here. You are not on the agenda, Mrs. Nelson.
No, she's not.
We're not able to break up for good reason.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to make sure to make a big deal out of this. In probably November, I had the opportunity to, we work with the Indiana Thespians, which is a big organization throughout. It's actually an international organization. We work with the Indiana Thespians. We have a chartered theater troupe through the Indiana Thespians. Every year we have a convention in Indianapolis that I take, usually it's in Indianapolis, that I take students to. And they have a series of awards that we can nominate people for. One of those awards is an outstanding administrator. And so in November this year, we got together and I nominated Dr. Buffington. Wrote up a wonderful nomination and found out about 2 weeks before we went down, she was chosen as the winner. And this is a state nominated award. So there were nominees from all over the state that were sent down by schools. And I have, I sent her the clip of, do we have it?
Yes, we do.
Oh, yay, I'm so glad. I was hoping somebody would get that. So can we play it?
Yes.
So our superintendent has been supportive of the program I inherited and grew. She started as a third grade teacher, moved to director of technology, then assistant super, and has been superintendent for over 20 years. When she saw the dedication I brought moving to this district, she quickly stepped in line to show her support. She made it customary for the district to cover royalty and script costs for all shows so that students got the experience of plays and musicals every year. When the talk of a new high school started in 2006, she made a state-of-the-art performing arts facility a reality, not just a dream. She allowed the PA staff to sit around the table with the architects, letting us share our dreams, and told them to make it happen. When they said it could be done, she said, find a way, and they did. She made them listen to us. She has shown up to all but 2 productions that I have directed over the span of 28 years, all but 2. She also makes it a point to come backstage prior to congratulate the kids and the team. I feel validated and appreciated by her every second of every day. When I need her, she is there. From Hobart High School, the Outstanding Administrator Award goes to Dr. Peggy Buffington.
Now we have a little weather event at the end of the month, and so it was supposed to be one weekend in January, and then it got moved to the next weekend, so she couldn't come down to receive it. So we had some of our students take it for her, but we were able to surprise her. After I found out, we were so excited that we got into cahoots with Becky and Beth at the office, and Becky made a really nice certificate for her. And so then I don't know what scheme they told you to get over there, but she came down to the theater on stage, and I had a bunch of theater kids and some band kids and choir kids down on stage, and she walked in thinking she was going to do something else, and then all these kids came flying out of the wings and out of the curtains, and she didn't know quite what to think. And so we were able to surprise her that way as well when we told her what we'd done. So just to kind of highlight what maybe you didn't hear at the beginning, you know, I've been in this district for 28 years. It's hard for me to believe that. And never once have I felt unappreciated by this woman. When the new school was a thing, she allowed us, and I know Dean can attest to this, she had us sit across from these architects, and there was one thing in particular that they kept telling us it can't be done. We looked at the plans, we were like, well, you didn't want it this way. This is what we had at the middle school. We didn't want it this way. And we said, Chesterton, they did it this way. We want it that way. And she looked at those architects and she said, talk to Chesterton, find out how they did it. That's how they want it. and they listened to her, and we got it the way that we wanted it. And so, she's missed maybe 2 productions in those 28 years that I've been here. It's just amazing. I look at my other co-teachers throughout the state of Indiana. They don't have this kind of support that we are lucky enough to have. And so, we had to kind of go behind her back to get here, because I know she doesn't do this for herself. She doesn't brag about herself a lot, but we brag about her, and I'm sure the music teachers in the district and Mr. Wolf in the district, they would agree that she's most deserving of this award. It says, for an outstanding administrator by the Indiana Thespians, but we know it's just for her support of performing arts in general. So, on behalf of the Indiana Thespians, I actually present your real award to Dr. Peggy Buffington for Outstanding Administrator by the Indiana Thespians. Thank you so much for everything.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming, and another surprise. I did not know why I was coming to the high school. I'm sorry, I'm crying just a little bit, but
She did.
thank you. It's joyful. And I did it in front of the kids too, because I wasn't expecting something like that. But I will say, Becky and Beth pulled off a good one, because I said, what am I going to the high school for a BOP for? Because I know what the BOPs are for. And they're like, we don't know, we just made it. You have to go. And they're in my office saying, you gotta go. And I'm like, I'm trying. And so then I come through, and then you're in that little hallway, come this way. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't even know why I'm giving an award. They just gave me, you gotta be
I
there
told
for
you it was
the
for
BOP.
the girls who were the queens for.
Yes,
Oh,
but I
for
didn't
six.
have the award.
Right.
And I'm like, where's the award? They're like, she's got it, just go. And I'm like, this is so unorganized. I'm not like this. And so anyways, I get there, and then the kids all did come out. And it was just a complete surprise. And I can't say enough that I appreciate so much that you would think to do something like that. But the joy is truly all mine. I've had the pleasure of being at 2 of our performances in the last 2 weeks that were just outstanding. And I can't say enough about our theater department here, the feeder system coming up, and our choir programs, and just how fortunate people feel when they're in the audience and they're seeing our kids perform. And particularly the last production with 6, people are still reeling over that. It was so good. But of course, I always go backstage and say it was my favorite. Every single one of them is my favorite. And I just see kids in their element having joy and doing something they love.
That's what it's all about.
And we could not do it without the amazing teachers and instructors that we have here that just have passion and helping kids just do something that makes them really happy besides doing their regular classwork.
That's right.
I always tell teachers, sometimes when you look at the elective classes, that's the one reason why a kid came to school that day.
Yeah.
And so the joy that they bring is beyond what I can explain. And when I think about just leisure and what do we all do in leisure, we like music, we like to go to shows, right? And you can do it right in our backyard. It's so good. And when I'm sitting with senior citizens, particularly at the high school, and I know for elementary and middle school, it's a lot of grandparent days, etc. But, I do every performance with the senior citizens. And you have to be there to see how happy they are. And the quality that they're so impressed with our kids. And it's their house, you know what I mean? And I always thank them for the tax dollars they provided for this environment so that we can have what we have. And they're truly grateful, and they feel like this is their school too, and I want them to feel that way. But our performances are so good, and I am just so proud of it. And I know it's not me, it's you guys. And so, I can accept this award, and thank you so much, Kathy, because I would have never guessed on something like this. I truly wouldn't have. But I accept it on behalf of all of you, because you are the people that make it happen. And yes, I am your biggest cheerleader, and I am your biggest supporter. I will like watching you perform. There's nothing like it. And people just really don't see the behind the scenes. You know, I was sitting at Joanne Martin's performance this past week, and you know, they're out in the audience, and I was commenting to their principal about the costumes and the amount of hours that Tina and Liz spent creating those costumes
And the
was
set
just
pieces,
beyond
yeah.
belief. And then, you know, I'm just looking over at what they did, and one of the voices in particular at Veterans Performance was just angelic. I could not believe that that was one of our students singing like that. But, you know, they all have talent, and it's so young now, and it's so good. And then I'm watching our technicians, you know, that are kids that are going to be coming your way, and they've learned it all at elementary already, and it's coming up through the ranks. I know your summer camps help, but just the people that do those things, it makes a world of difference. And look how happy kids are. It's just so cool. And when they know you're coming to their performance, it's even better. You know, going backstage, like break a leg, or if I'm there back and your group is doing their prayer and they're holding hands or whatever,
You come
and
back
they're getting
in.
ready to go on, and then just to talk with them afterwards, and they feel so confident in what they did and feel good about it, that's all a person needs to see that it's successful. And I wish people could see that from my lens when I see the before and after. It's heartwarming.
It's special. Well, speaking of shows, we always seem to have a show coming up, but as you can see, I'm kind of repping for our next one. Next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have Romeo and Juliet, and it is actually Romeo and Juliet with kind of a modern through kind of a modern lens. These kids are doing amazing with Shakespeare. Our target audience, kind of our freshmen, about 100 of our freshmen are advanced freshmen. Actually study the show in their English classes. Maddie Sullivan, the English teacher who teaches it, has jumped on board and has been helping me with it. And it's going to be pretty, as the kids tell me, lit. It's going to be pretty awesome. So they've used a couple other words too. I got to figure out the vernacular because it changes like every week up here. They tell me I think I'm cool, and then suddenly my Annabella, who's a sixth grader, is like, "Don't use that, Mom. That's not cool anymore." So I have to be careful. But anyway, it is a really cool adaptation and kind of way we're targeting it towards that kind of teen level. And these kids are handling it beautifully. Scenically, Chris, Connor, and Ron, and Matt Hankowski, and our tech adults have outdone themselves, have created something spectacular. Board members, you'll get to see Grace on stage with this show. We pulled her on stage, not up in the balcony this time. She'll see her on stage as Balthazar and a couple of other different things, helping move those sets around. And it's truly going to be beautiful to look at as well as hear. These kids are just really, it's come together quite nicely. Now, trust me, we've got about 40 hours worth of rehearsal over the next week here. But I think we're going to have something to be really proud of. So come and support us next weekend if you have the time. Thank you.
And thank you, Kathy, for doing this, and I will cherish it. I really do appreciate it. I do want to say, just with Matt Frankowski and the whole crew, the tech crew, the last senior citizen performance with Dean Wolf, it was hysterical. I'm sitting in the back, and Grace, I believe you were the one that said, and don't leave at the end of the show, because there's going to be a light show. And we just sat there, and it was a light show, people. And I felt like, wow, it was 2 for 1, and we had a great time. And so if you're missing the performing arts in our schools, you are missing a lot, because it's good entertainment. It really is. I shouldn't say good, it's excellent. So I always tell Kathy at the end of her show, Broadway in Hobart. And so for those people that went to see Six in Chicago, and I was able to talk to them, and I said to them, so what was the difference? And our costumes, our dance, our choreography, and just everything, they said we were better. And I said, I bet you were. I didn't go see Six in Chicago, but I don't know how you could be better than what you were. It was that good. And so let's not ever forget how important of a role it plays. That's why we support it, right? That's why we support it. It's important in people's lives. So thank you to all of you that are out there. I greatly appreciate you.
Alrighty. Thank you, Mrs. Nelson, for getting that. Appreciate it. On to the next item agenda is the approval of minutes. Board?
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the executive session and the regular session minutes of February 19, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote. Thank you, board, and that passes 7-0. Financial reports, and we have none. Ladies, you are lucky. Are there any comments on the agenda items from the audience at this time? Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the personnel report. Dr. Buffington?
Board, in your packet, you have a copy of the personnel report for March the 5th. And you also have the ECA assignments that are a part of this personnel report as well. Board action is requested.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the personnel report as presented.
Second.
Sorry, Brad beat you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote. And that passes 7-0. Thank you, board. Next item on the agenda is the recognition of a student and the recommendation to accept a donation to Joan Martin School. Dr. Buffington?
Yes, and we have some incredible audience members here tonight that was all part of this performance at Joan Martin School. And again, it's what a great night to have all of our performing arts teachers here. For the most part, I see most of them out there. But tonight we're recognizing, first of all, one of our students. I don't know, Mrs. Clemens, would you like to tell the story? Because you could tell it much better than me.
Oh, I can.
You can. There's a microphone right over there. Yes.
Can I bring her with me?
You can. And we'll call up the other part of this here in just a minute, right?
Okay, so my name is Tina Clemens. I am a co-sponsor of the Joan Martin Set Design Club that designs all of costumes and sets that are done with the performances, and I'm a co-sponsor with Jamie Edwards and Nate Lackney and Rodney Clemens at Joan Martin for their regular drama club performances. So this year at the very beginning of set design, we sat in my classroom watching other productions of Finding Nemo, and we started talking about what do we build? How do we do this? What do we do on our, as we call it, tiny stage, right? How do we make that come to life? And I made a comment one afternoon at set design and said, wouldn't it be so cool if we could find a way to just make these costumes come to life and have a live digital stage? Wouldn't it be cool? We can't make that happen, but wouldn't it be cool? And the kids are like, yeah, that'd be so cool. Why can't we do it? And I'm like, well, we don't have the equipment. We'll figure it out. Something always comes about. Well, that something is this young lady next to me. And bear with me because I can't ever make it through this story without tears. So this is Layla Williams. Layla came home after that day and talked with her parents who are sitting there in the audience, and she looked at her dad, who owns a digital production company, and said, Dad, Mrs. Clemens really wants to have a live digital stage. Is there a way for you to make that happen? And her dad said, absolutely. So a few weeks later, Layla comes in, hugs me like she does every morning in the building, and she says, good morning, my dad's coming to set club today. I'm okay. I don't know why, but okay. And she walks away, and I go talk to Miss Craig, and I'm like, well, Mr. Williams is coming this afternoon, and I'm not really certain why, but we're going to find out. And she's like, okay, just let me know. So in walks this kind gentleman in my classroom that afternoon, and he says, let's talk about your show. And I'm like, okay, well, this is what we're looking at, and the kids are going to design their costumes, and we'll bring them to life, but it's their ideas, and they're going to work on set. And he's like, I'm not certain that you know what I do for a living. And I'm like, nope, sure don't. He says, let's take a walk. So we walk to our stage, and I show him our stage and the space that we have, and he says, well, I'm going to tell you, my daughter asked me to help you make that dream of yours come true, and I'm going to do that. Of course, I lost it and cried, and he told me his incredible story from childhood through now, and what he does for a living and all the amazing things, and said, I'm just going to make that happen on your stage for you. And he did. And it all started with this young lady right here. So I asked Dr. Buffington to bring us here so that I could present her to all of you, as well as her incredible family, but definitely her father. Because as well as he's cheering up as much as I do, we've talked about it. It's great to dream. It's even better to be reminded that you can dream big. And they did that for me this week. So big thank you. I love you. I'm so proud of you. And I'm very grateful for you. This is Ryan Williams.
I'm like with you, and Layla, that was just so beautiful. I really do. She is adorable. And Mr. Williams, I don't even know what else to say. Your tears don't make me cry too. But it was phenomenal. You're sitting in the back, and I mean, like, this is like one of our performances that a lot of people don't see at the high school. That's up in the, the balcony. And you brought all of this equipment. I'll ask the board to accept the value of it. It was almost $25,000 worth of equipment, and you'll see that invoice. And Mr. Williams just donated all of that, and it's because Layla was trying to make an extraordinary gift to Mrs. Clemens and make the performance be the best that it could be. And I was like, Mr. Williams, don't let Kathy Nelson know who you are.
Too late.
Like all of the performing arts teachers that are sitting in the back tonight, music in our schools. But truly, it was an extraordinary event. And just giving and being a part of the community, and it was just a beautiful story. And Layla, always thinking about other people is what we're about, serving other people. We can always talk about academics, and they're so important, but making us well-rounded and being good citizens is being kind and doing for others and trying to make things be the best that they can possibly be. And that's what you did. You're like, you went to your dad and said, this can be better, and I can do something to make a difference. Mr. Williams, what you did was extraordinary. No one would ever expect you to donate almost $25,000 worth of equipment, but God bless you and thank you for that. And, we recognized them in front of the student body, which is important, but I said publicly we need to acknowledge this because it was so beautiful. And grateful recognition of your extraordinary generosity and support of our students in performing arts program. Your kindness, vision, and willingness to give have helped create a truly magical experience on stage, inspiring creativity, joy, and lasting memories for our students and school community. Your impact will be felt far beyond this performance, and we are so proud to celebrate the difference you have made. And this is to the Williams family. Obviously Leah is his wife, and she is our nurse practitioner down at Ricky Clinic. And I feel like it's a family set here. Incredible people. They just truly are, and we're blessed to have you in our community. So thank you all. Thank you for your sacrifices, because I know we spent a lot of time there, and we just want to say thank you. So here you go. There you go.
Do you want me to use your phone, Peggy?
Hers is right here.
What did you say?
You want me
Take a
to use
picture?
my phone?
Yeah, because you're going to be more likely to send it to whoever.
I'm like chasing Russ.
You unlock it and I'll take it.
Just a normal day.
He's chasing me, everybody. I think he has a GPS on my phone. He can always find me. I don't get it.
All right, smile. Do a couple just in case. All right.
Oh, wait, hold on, hold on. There you go.
Leah, you want to grab it? You want to jump in?
Come on, Leah.
I'll take a picture with hers too. I didn't know you'd be in there. All right.
Oh, here comes some more. Jamie's in back.
Don't we need grandma in the picture too?
All right.
Great job.
I think she should get 2 weeks off with no homework.
Do not listen to him.
I'd like to make a motion that the board accept the $24,315 donation for the Finding Nemo Junior from Ryan Williams.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the board?
It was beautiful.
Thank you very much.
The play was really amazing. Sat through 2 performances. It was great, and you could really tell the difference. I mean, we've been through a few years there, and it made a huge difference. Thank you very much.
Yep.
We will say that Mr. Keene's daughter was the starfish in the aquarium, the cutest starfish there ever was. We're thankful for.
I'm a little biased, so it's hard to.
So are we.
I did send him a picture of the performance I was at that he wasn't at, and
Yeah.
I said, she's so cute.
Mr. Williams, thank you, not only for your time and your effort, but for your talent. And really sharing that with kids so that someday maybe they'll, you're passing the torch to them. So thank you.
They have all said it very well, so I will just say thank you, Mr. Williams, just for everything. Mrs. Williams, and thank you for participating with us as well, even if it is as an employee. We are so thankful for your services as well. We don't want to leave her out. All right.
And it's all Layla's idea.
Your
Do you have
last.
voting plaques?
Yep. Mrs. Hillen was holding up the show.
Oh.
And that passes 7-0. Thank you, board.
Thank you so much.
And our next item on the agenda is the March is Music in Our Schools Month. Mr. Mellon has a video for us. And
Right,
then,
and I think we're gonna kind of go with the resolution first to celebrate.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Mr. Porras, if you could read that resolution, please.
Yes.
Yes, we have a resolution from the School City of Hobart, resolution number 2026-4, Music in Our Schools Month.
Well, we could ask the audience, would you like us to read the whole thing?
They're all saying it's good.
I will be
Alrighty.
sending this out to everyone though, because it's all true. Just want to make sure that you don't feel slighted out there. Okay.
All right.
All right, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you want to vote on that first, or?
Yeah, let's go ahead and vote on that first. I need a motion first, please, board.
I'd like to make a motion that the board adopt resolution number 2026-4, celebrating March as Music in Our Schools Month.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion by the board? If not, let's place our votes so that we can see the good stuff. If you want to do roll call too, Mr. Porras?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, David Cosbade,
Aye.
Don Rogers,
Aye.
Brad Keane,
Aye.
Stuart Schultz,
Aye.
Frank Porras votes aye, Sandy Hillen,
Aye.
and Ricky Guthrie.
Aye. Thank you, board. 7-0.
Yes, very exciting. So every single, when it approaches the month of March, I'm planning the board agenda with Pat, and I always try to reach out to the performing arts people. Who wants to come and perform? Who wants to show what we've got going on in our schools? And I think they know it's coming, but I didn't even have to ask this year. And so they came to me and said, we would like to come and showcase. Now, I can't say enough about these people. They're amazing. I want to call them up, Audrey, Kelly, Jamie, Dean. Kathy, you could come on up too if you want. And then we have a special performance that we're going to be having by our state gold winner here, McCoy Swanson, and I'm just like super excited about this. Of course, you know, he's a percussionist, and I've always wanted a drum roll here, so we're working on it, right, McCoy? The drum line is getting larger, I could just say that. You could tell Lauren Takel I said that, Kelly. But I just love watching our kids perform. So come on up, and before we play or do you want us to play that first and then you come up? It's up to you. Play it first? Okay, let's roll. school year. And I'm gonna call up all of our instructors and let them talk about a few things that they would like to talk about. I really just don't even know what else to say except for I'm always mesmerized by what you do with our kids. So come on up and share some more with us because we love having you here and recognizing that this is a month that we get to celebrate you. And I'll have my assistants, my reps over there help me. I know that one. All right. I'm gonna let Xu Jing, if you would grab the mic, Xu Jing, and read what's on the certificates.
Here you go.
And you can help me.
I just want to make sure everybody's in the camera. You got to stand kind of where the podium is. But here's the second mic. Dean, you're kind of out of the picture is what I'm saying. It was on. Just got
Okay, I'll be reading this certificate of appreciation, which is presented to Audrey Amsler. In recognition of your outstanding dedication to music education and your unwavering commitment to student growth and excellence. During Music in Our Schools Month, we proudly celebrate the passion, expertise, and inspiration you bring to your classroom each day. Your leadership strengthens our schools, enriches our community, and transforms the lives of students through the power of music. Thank you for your continued service and impact. Signed by Dr. Buffington, Mrs. Guthrie, Mr. Porras on the 5th of March.
And that's what all of the certificates say, so could you give it up for Audrey Amsler? I know, it's very large. It's a very large drum line, and it gets better and better. I love the parades in the high school. Brandon Deakins, our band director. Is our orchestra director, Jeannie Edwards. Yeah, I mean, and let me just say, new mom and putting a performance together like she did with this crew here, it doesn't go unnoticed, just all the hard work that you did, and we're so proud of you, Jamie. Let's give it up for her.
And she came from a concert.
She did have a concert tonight. I forgot about that, Jamie. And so Nate Lackney, let me do say this. Give a round of applause for him. You have to come to the elementary performance. What's the date again? April 11th. And watch how the 3 elementary schools work together to put their performance on. I was definitely blown away last spring. And, like designing their own music, singing to, one school was playing the ukulele, the other school was singing while they were playing. It was just amazing. And you miss out if you don't go see it. I just loved it. And of course, Mr. Dean Wolf. I'll let you do that. And, when you think about Kathy Nelson and all the performances, Diane Perigo, she is amazing, and we couldn't do things without her. And so, Dean, let's make sure that she gets this. And I want to just say, the floor is yours, but thank you for all that you do for kids, because you make school a happy place. You really do. So thank you for all that you do. But I'm going to turn the mic over to you, and then you'll be able to introduce McCoy, and then McCoy, we have a little something for you as well. We can't wait to hear you perform, but the floor is yours.
I have a Xu Jing story. Can I?
You can tell Xu Jing's story. I want to hear a Xu Jing.
No, this is a good one. Okay. Do you know what I'm going to say? Okay, so Xu Jing came up to me in 8th grade, last month of school, and she says, I want to be in band. And I was like, okay. And she wanted to do it her freshman year. And of course, Lauren was like, oh, I don't know, how is she going to do this? And I said, she's top 15, trust me. She's got it. She'll be great. So I said to Xu Jing, here's Quinlan and Fabish's phone number. If you can get an instrument, we'll make it work. She came back in on Monday. She had a clarinet. I said, great, sign up for band, voice, and choice, and I'll help you get going. She and I did a bunch of Zooms over the summer, right? Some little lessons. And by the time we came to school, she was rocking. And the next year, her freshman year in symphonic band, sat like, I think what, like higher chair-wise than most of our other clarinets that have been playing since 6th grade. And she stayed in band, right? And she's a rock star, so.
She is a rock star.
Yeah.
You know what, and I do want to say this, and if you didn't catch what Kelly said, that's the way this group rolls. So like she's Zooming with her over summer, right? And so we can't lose sight of the fact that these are people that they come to work and they love what they do. And it shows, right? It just truly shows.
We have great kids. It's easy when you have good kids. And great administration. Yes, and this video was Audrey. She's a rock star.
It was everybody.
She's
It
a
was
rock star.
Rock star, we all know that.
Yes, we do.
I just wanted to refer to the Best Communities Award that we received from NAM last year. We found out at the end of the school year last year, and a big part of that was community and administrative support and making music accessible from K through 12. And that is not something that happens in every district. It's not something that happens in every district in our region. And every time I go to a conference or some kind of professional development event with other music educators, I am constantly reminded how amazing it is to work with these people and to work with Dr. Buffington and to have such a supportive school board and community, parents and students, because that is not the norm. And quite often when budget cuts are on the line, music is one of the first things that gets cuts, and that is not happening in Hobart. And I think that is so just telling how much our community continues to support music access for all kids. It's so important in all aspects of our lives, not just to appreciate beautiful music, but to make beautiful humans. And so we're just grateful for this opportunity that you help provide our kids.
Okay, now also speaking from an administrative point of view, Grace and I, we've been working on a scholarship that she's been working on. And some of her most beautiful telling moments in preparing for the scholarship interview came out of experiences that she had with Wolfgang, performing for veterans, senior citizens. And so, you know, just making us good human beings is absolutely true. It brings out the best in all of us. It truly does. And that was a big highlight of her performance when she was going to be interviewed for her scholarships. Right. Who else wants to say a few words? Oh, by the way, Pat Schoon and I are trying to figure out, what does the F stand for?
Four.
Oh, four? Oh, okay. You finally figured it out? I'm like, what does the F stand for in that acronym?
I Googled it.
Oh, you Googled it? Thank you, Pat.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
We're
We'll
like,
change it every couple of years.
like, what is that? Anybody else want to say a few words?
Yeah. Well, this really isn't focused on the kids as much as just working here in Hobart, and one of the things that's made it enjoyable. Most of you know I've been here a few years, and Don Rogers and I used to teach down the hall from each other.
I used to sing.
And you know, I'm a young teacher, and so and I've got these kids in front, and Don would send these notes down. A kid would come down from his class, and they were just hilarious. And I would be reading the notes, and I'd be cracking up, and the kids would be laughing at me like, "What in the world?" You know. But that's one of the things that has made it enjoyable.
It's a good network and family, isn't it? Jamie, Abby?
I used to work 2 years in a different school district that did not have the same arts support. They did not know my name. I was told what I was to do for my concerts at elementary level. And they were pulling money, moving money out of their drama clubs and their high school
Nicole picked this piece for McCoy. She said, can you do this? Like, if you don't, it doesn't work, because it's like a conversation between the two of them. And this has been my favorite piece I've ever accompanied anybody on. It's super cool. And McCoy went to state last weekend, and what, half a point from perfect? Is that what you?
Yes.
Yeah, half a point away from perfect. And he's a sophomore in wind ensemble, marching band. He was the pit section leader this year, and he's just a great example of how great our kids are. And he's got pretty cool parents too.
I'll say that.
And a pretty cool brother who also
Yeah.
is a percussionist, right, Oliver? So if you know the piece for Elise, this is a like a little take on it called Encore Elise. And like I said, it's like a conversation, and McCoy just, he kills it. He does such a great job. So,
I'm so excited.
if I like this, we'll figure it out. Am I okay here, McCoy?
And Kelly, thank you for taking that on, because amongst all your other responsibilities, right? And then you just ended up loving it.
I love accompanying the kids. They always get mad at me because they also say, like, especially with the high school ones, like, you need to charge, because our kids would pay $50, $100 for somebody to accompany them at the high school level. And I'm like, no, like, this part of my job, this is always this ongoing battle with the department. And the group ones are hard, but I love it. I love, I don't know, I just like supporting the kids. And like I said, this one was my favorite. I've never done one that is this fun, so. Are you ready? Should we tune? Just kidding. Okay. You ready?
How long did it take you to memorize that?
I mean, a month?
Just a month?
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like, oh, I missed it, or
All the time.
all the time? And so, like, okay, I have to ask because I didn't hear any imperfections, but so, like, what did they mark you down a half a point for?
Yeah. They said that I played it out with the wrong value. Just.
Yeah, the triplets.
Yeah, just that.
But I don't
it
know
was
what
not-
they were talking about.
Yeah, me either, and I wasn't even there. So, okay, well, that was just beautiful, and thank you for asking him to come here because that was just incredible.
It was a last minute, I think, like I said, isn't this a super fun piece? Like,
It is
it's
really
just
cool,
fun.
yeah.
It
And
really
so I
is.
thought, oh, McCoy needs to play this for
If I
everybody.
had a
It is, and I loved how you described it as conversational because that's exactly what it was. So for earning gold and distinction at the State Solo and Ensemble and for representing our district by performing at the school board meeting in celebration of Music in Our Schools Month, your excellence, commitment, and passion for music make us incredibly proud. You are definitely always being excellent on purpose.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll take a picture of you really quick.
McCoy, I have a question while we're getting ready. So you have to practice a lot. How do you fit that in your backpack?
Yeah.
My parents actually got me one for at home for my Christmas.
Oh.
Yes, what do you
Okay, so then I have a follow-up question then. So does your dad rap with you when you play that instrument?
Oh, that's a great question.
That is a good question.
No.
No? Oh, okay.
All right.
Now I'm
Will
kinda
say,
disappointed.
tell us, has he ever asked you to like help him with his rap?
Not in like the past 10 years.
Yeah, when they were little, I would have them do vocal.
That's so
They
funny.
probably know. The students.
Got it.
McCoy, do you like
We play
playing on
music
this
together.
marimba?
Yes, definitely.
This is the one that we emailed Dr. Buffington about. There was an incredible sale on it, and like we emailed her and said, "Will you buy this for us?" And it was like an immediate, "Yep." And I think it was
We
like a
needed
$5,000 or
it.
$6,000. Yeah, we do.
We did. We needed
Yeah.
it. We didn't have this.
Not a
And-
full size. This is a full size marimba, and even the one at the middle school is 3 octaves. Does that sound
Yeah.
right? So definitely not a full size like this. So it's just nice to have one.
Right. And then I think when you saw the video that she put together, you could see our performance shells that when we're performing, we bring those out. That was intentional when we built the high school. We said we're going to have exactly what the Boston Pops has, and we're gonna make it look good, sound good, and it always sounds good, right? And so we have a lot to be proud of. So we'd love to take your picture if you'd like to.
Behind the room.
You want to go behind that?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And if you all aren't aware of this, we have a very, very, very great band dad.
Russell Mellon.
He's like our marching band dad. I mean, we couldn't function in marching band without Russ.
I just do what I'm told.
Well, you do great.
You tell me to do things, I do.
These band boosters, I'm like, I run into him all the time
Yeah.
here, and it's because he's here helping you
Yeah,
guys.
he's great. We love
Thank
having
you so
Russ on
much.
board.
I'm very proud of you, and that was just beautiful.
Good,
Thank
good
you.
job on the piano. Piano was good too.
Yes, the piano was good too.
And I know you guys spend tons of time, so don't feel like you need to stay.
Yes, that was my next comment, that
Yeah.
if you have homework to do, you may please leave.
All of them in the back have homework
Yes,
to do.
you can go ahead and go, unless you want to stay for the rest, but that's totally up to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming tonight.
All right.
We appreciate it.
All right, our next item on the agenda is the superintendent's action regarding the Youth and Government overnight conference.
Well, this is a rare instance where we did not receive an overnight trip request. And we've been doing this for years, Youth and Government, and somehow, some way, we never received the packet for you to approve. Now, obviously, I approved this at the last minute, and so board action will be requested to ratify my actions of approving the overnight trip for our Youth and Government, which took place from February 27th to March the 1st. So I am asking the board to ratify my actions.
I'd like to make a motion that the board ratify the action of the superintendent for the 2026 Youth and Government overnight extended student trip to attend the HAS Model Conference as presented.
Second?
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I'm glad they had the opportunity to go and do this. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Right, and you know, we have a change in like leadership and things like that, and so we've got it clear now.
It happens.
Sometimes these things happen.
Yes, it does.
That's what I kind of figured happened.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
There we go. 7-0. Thank you, board. Our next item on the agenda is an overnight extended student trip for the Hobart High School HOSA, which is the Future Healthcare Professional State Leadership Conference.
All right, and so board, in your packet, you have a request that is recommended by the principals and myself. And this would be for Eden Alexander, Tiffany Parrish, and Sarah Collins. And the teachers for our HOSA club and our HHS EMT students to attend the HOSA Future Healthcare Professional State Leadership Conference. They will leave on April 15th, return on April 17th. This is a huge conference, and they get to meet with other healthcare professionals, and I could not endorse this more. They always come back, and they have wonderful experiences being able to meet and greet and collaborate with other healthcare professionals. So it is my pleasure to bring this to you and request board approval.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the overnight extended student trip for Hobart High School students to attend the HOSA State Leadership Conference in Indianapolis.
Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote. And that passes 7-0. Thank you, board. Our next item on the agenda is the IDOE grant, Title IV grant acceptance. Dr.
Board, in your
Buffington.
packet, you have a copy of the grant award letter for Title IV. Dr. Krieg does this grant, and I'm very thankful for that. And we've been using Title IV-A and the amount is $50,071.25. And we use that grant year after year to provide for the social worker that we have at the Early Learning Center. And so we're very thankful for this opportunity to have that grant, and I would ask that the board accept and approve that grant.
I'd like to make a motion that the board accept the Title IV Part A grant from the Indiana Department of Education and authorize the superintendent or her designee to execute any necessary documents for the grant.
Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If there is not, please place your votes. And that passes 7-0. Thank you, board. Our next item on the agenda is the recommendation to accept the awarding of the bid for new network equipment and support, renewal for existing network equipment.
And we're going to turn that over to our Director of IT Services, Mr. Mellon.
Yes, good evening, board. So this is the continuation of the board item we started back on December 18th. We had 4 vendors give us 5 different quotes. The most cost-effective, not only was it the cheapest, but also the most cost-effective overall, was a bid from a company called SHI. And that's the highlighted one here. The total projected budget that I had for this was about $1.2 million, and this came in at $1.05. So we're under, what we were expecting to have to spend, which is a good thing because we're trying to save money. And here's my kind of tabulation sheet. price being the most important piece of all that we use to evaluate all of this.
All right, and so just to refresh everyone's memory on what E-rate is, E-rate is where the government reimbursed us, and it's based off of our poverty levels on how much reimbursement we get. And Russ, do you want to, I think, are we sitting at 60% reimbursement?
No, we're still at 80 the last time around.
Okay.
So this project, we'll get approximately $620,000 reimbursement from the feds for this overall project. So even though right now it's looking like just over $1 million, we're still getting another 600 back.
And that's
after
what's
that.
important for you to realize. So when we're looking at federal programs and they want to make cuts, there's no way schools will make it with their internet service without E-rate. And I bring this up so that you can see we're not going to really spend 1.1 million. We will get that money back as a part of the reimbursement and the filing of this. Russ does an amazing job with this, and obviously I'm happy to see that the quotes came in and the bids came in under what we projected.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we can welcome the reimbursement back. So with that, are there any questions? I'd like to make a motion along with Russ that the board accept these bids. They're the lowest, most responsive bidder, and authorize the superintendent or my designee, in this case Russ, to execute the documents to carry it out.
I'd like to make a motion that the board accept SHIEA, the lowest and most responsive bid, and authorize the superintendent or her designee to execute any necessary documents.
Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I'd just like to thank you for putting together the tabulations that you do with the explanations about why and the scoring. It does make it a lot easier to understand, and it takes a lot of strain off of having to read through the bids.
Yeah, if you really want, I can show you all the math that I did to get to this point. You don't want to see it, really.
Yeah, we're
honestly.
good.
There's,
I will say
But I
he-
appreciate what you do because
Yeah.
it does make it very easy to see what and why.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
He did lament over this. I mean, when you're going over bid packages and did they quote everything that you asked for? And it's just so much detail. And Russ is a detailed person. On one of the bids, they actually left something off that we had requested for Veterans Elementary, and of course Russ caught it immediately. And so you're seeing a summarized version of the things that Russ went through, and that's what we're very blessed to have Russ. He's very dedicated, hardworking, extremely talented when it comes to this, and we're just thankful for all the hard work that you put
Google
into
Sheets
it, Russ.
does all the math for me. I don't have to.
Yeah,
I don't have to do that part.
I will agree with you on that. He does need Google to do the math. Right, I agree with you on that one, Russ. Brilliant, but let's let the spreadsheet do the math numbers for him.
All righty. If there isn't any further discussion, board, if you would place your votes, please. Thank you. And that item passes 7-0. Thank you. Next on the item agenda is the recommendation to accept the terms of service agreement for internet services, and that would be Mr. Mellon as well.
So this is also a continuation from another previous item back on the 18th. This is our new internet service provider that will start in July, and for technical reasons, they didn't have the agreement ready. There's a process they have to go through to actually be able to produce the agreement. So this is the agreement for that. Mr. Longer has had a look at it, and it kind of fits the normal stuff, unless you have any comments about that.
Well, it's an Indiana company.
Yeah.
Which may explain why they have language in their contract that permits a modification if necessary because of any change in law. Our legislature has a tendency to tinker with things on a regular basis. And there are a couple bills that were pending that might have affected the validity of this contract, but with the provision in there to allow for modification to address those issues, I have no concerns.
It's a pretty long thing. I don't know if you really want to see all of that.
I'd like you to read it.
Mr. Porras' job, right?
This is not a resolution.
This could take a while.
All right. Board, your pleasure.
To make a motion that the board approve the terms of services agreement with SurfNet Services and authorize the superintendent or her designee to execute the agreement.
Second.
Thank you, board. Is there any further discussion? If not, please place your vote.
Thank you, Russ, for hours of work. Thank you.
There it goes.
There we go, 7-0. Thank you, board. And thank you to Russ as well. Our next item on the agenda is the registration, both for in-district students and non-resident information as well. Dr. Buffington?
Board, in your packet, you have a copy of registration, which you'll see that we're starting to register our students for next school year. And this is just a process that we need to have. Are you coming back? So that we can see what our numbers are. And as you know, you do have some lower birth rates that we're looking at. And then on top of it, you also have school choice. And so that does affect us in terms of our ADM and our staffing and what we're able to budget for. And so, where people are like, do we really have to register? We really do need to know if you're returning. And so this is part of the process, and it's pretty easy. They just have to go into Skyward and revalidate all of that. Which, by the way, that's really important, because if you don't update your information and you change your cell phone number and we can't get a hold of you, that's really not a good thing. And so we want to know if you're coming back and update your information for us. And then what you have is our non-resident enrollment. And last year, we thought we have enough spots for about 200 students. And so, we have limited spots. We put those ratios out on our website on what's available, but non-residents can apply, and we'll take a look at where we have those teacher-student ratios, and if we're under, that's when we take in non-enrollment students, better known to all of you as open enrollment. And so, again, I want to stress, there's not a lot of spots, but there are open spots. If you were to ask me, where are those spots right now? Kindergarten is one of those things that's very hard to determine. I can say kindergarten kickoff, she had 120 students come to kindergarten kickoff, which we've never had 120 this early. That was a pretty good sign. And obviously, many people want their children to come to our high school. And why? It's the early college. And so, I have to watch those numbers very carefully, and I do that with Chris King and Danielle Adams, that is the director of school counselors here. There are a few spots in all of the grade levels, but when I'm telling you it's limited, it is limited, because you have to have a balance between, does it force you to hire somebody by letting more people come here? And that isn't the goal. We're trying to maintain our budget, and what is the threshold that we can have to bring in non-resident students. Keep in mind, once they become open enrollment, unless they violate one of the criteria that you see on the non-residency application there, they're invited back, right? They get to stay. And so it was good for us. We took in about 70 non-resident students, open enrollment last year, and a good chunk of those people are staying. I would say probably, 60 maybe are staying, and others have moved or gone on. But you can see why that creates limited spots, because you had 70 that stayed, or 60 or so. And so this is an opportunity for people to turn in their application, and we review every application, and we'll let them know if there's a spot for them as our enrollment is completed and we see where the numbers land. So that information is for you. And do you have any questions about that?
So we did not lose many of the 70 we brought in last?
No. If we did bring somebody in and they did not meet one of the criteria, which would have been attendance, if they would have had like a drug violation, a weapons violation, or physical altercation that caused serious harm, those would be some reasons why they couldn't come back. And if you were to look at the Joanne Martin performance, they had an open enrollment student on stage. They want to be here. And so we really did not have problems with open enrollment students. They were thankful to be here. Some of them just kind of moved. I maybe had a couple that did some violations that broke the agreement, and we had to let them go. So we'll see. You can't break the rules. You want to be here, you have to abide by rules.
All right, thank you for that information. And the next item on our agenda is school information, and that again is Dr. Buffington.
In your packet board, you have a copy of our weekly agendas with our staff and the Brick Center, and you also have our Bricky Cafe monthly newsletter by Mr. Keene, Mr. Rybakeen.
All right, thank you for that. And our next item is the upcoming activities and events.
Well, we're in iRead testing season, and I'm just very hopeful for our second and third graders that they are performing well on that test, and they have a couple more tries if they don't make it this time around. I think publicly, you know my position on that. I think it's very punitive at third grade that if they don't pass it, and how many times they can be potentially held back. And I'm in disagreement with that, but I don't make the laws and the rules for that. I can say one of the things that I'm extremely concerned about with iRead, they're going to be doing cut scores on iLearn, and changing whether you the levels of how you pass and what level you're at. And we probably will not get final scores for iLearn until in July, at the end of July. Now, one of the criteria for being able to be exempt from being held back is, did you pass the iLearn math test? We won't really know that because we're not going to get iLearn scores. Now, the state has said, go back and look at their checkpoints. And so if you go back and look at their checkpoints, were they passing on the checkpoint? And what if I can confidently say they passed all 3 checkpoints in math, and I put a child in 4th grade, and then all of a sudden they didn't pass the math I learned with the new cut score? It really poses a problem. So are you telling me I have to put a student back in 3rd grade? There are just some things that I know it's not a perfect world, but that is not right. And so you will know that I will advocate for what I believe is right and make sure that we're vocal about what we're seeing here. I think one of the other things that I would just say, if the state truly believed that there was a problem with people promoting kids that did not pass iRead in 3rd grade, because the way it was usually, the way the law was written, they could go on to 4th grade, but they would have to receive instruction in 3rd and 4th grade reading. What is wrong with that solution? That's a perfect solution. When you are dealing with students that are retained, you automatically are looking at potential dropout. And it's because of their age, right? And so they don't think that they belong here. And so and I'm not for social promotion, don't get me wrong. But we also have kids that are already graduating when they're 19 years old. So if you hold back a third grader 2 times, you potentially are looking at a 20-year-old. That's just not gonna fly here. And so, I mean, we will do everything in our power to make sure that kids pass. We definitely need parents to understand there are repercussions to not passing that test. And so we'll pull out the stops, we'll do everything that we can, and we had a very good pass rate last year, with some students multiple tries, and us really honing in on data on what portion of the test they did not pass. But I'm an advocate for kids, and I don't want to see kids hurt by decisions like this, that data's coming in late, and I certainly don't agree with holding a child back 2 times. I agree to give them more instruction to get them where they need to go. And I'm hoping that we just do well on it. So you have received the online registration information. We had our workshop last night for raising mentally healthy kids. It was a great workshop. And all test day, I am so proud of Danielle Adams, Debbie Mathis, and Shelby Morgan, who is one of the counselors here at the high school. It was one of the smoothest all test days that we've ever had here. We ended up putting 2 proctors in a room, which made things much easier for us here. And then, of course, I had a team of teachers besides Dr. Krieg and myself. We were the instructors for the live learning for 9th, 10th, and 12th grade. And so that provided relief for us to double up on proctors. And I'm just going to say it was a team effort, but those 3 individuals really made the schedule and registration and all of that really important. And it was a very smooth day. I will say this. I wish our students would take that test a little more serious. They don't, and it kind of reflects poorly on us, no matter how much we tell them how important it is. I need them to take it serious, so I hope that they did. On March the 7th, our JROTCs and Bands Orchestra have a mattress fundraiser. Then, of course, March 12th, 13th, 14th, you have the Shakespeare Romeo and Juliet coming to the theater. March 14th, I know Dave Cospate will maybe talk a little bit more about it, but our bingo fundraiser for HEF. And then you can see on March 15th, that is when we do the Romeo and Juliet with our senior citizens. Spring break will be upon us. And then save the date in April for our Bricky Maker and Innovator Showcase.
Spring break. Woohoo! Right, girls?
They will need it by then.
I know. Alrighty, thank you for that. And our next item on agenda is comments. So Dr. Buffington, you may start those.
Well, I can say what a great night to have all of these folks here tonight, and just thank you to all that go to the performances and see how hard our kids work and how gratifying it is. And so it's a great night to celebrate Music in Our Schools Month with all of the people that were here tonight. So very proud of that. There's so much to be proud of, and I could just go on with all of it. And I in particular want to just say, like, we have 2 student board reps here that represent you well, and they represent the student body well, but they are just outstanding individuals, and I can't say enough about them. From how they serve. I know I've said this in the past, but as the year goes on and it's slowly like coming to a close, they will be missed so much. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what they will accomplish. I'm extremely proud of you, Grace, for persevering these last 2 weeks. They've been pretty rough on you. She has had multiple interviews for scholarships. We've been prepping for it, and and we'll find out in a couple of weeks what happened with that. I am proud of her. She's worked hard on it. And then when I just I think about all that you do, Shujing, too. Both of you are involved in so many different things, but how you serve other people is just incredible to me. And I want to say how proud we are that you serve in this position. And your leadership doesn't go unnoticed, and I hope that other people want to emulate the way you are. So thank you for everything you do. that's all I have.
I hope you don't mind that just a box of popcorn is your pay for the year.
I love it, thank you. I would prefer that you like stop by her mom's restaurant and get those little cinnamon rolls. Those would be really special. Just kidding, his popcorn is really good.
Mr. Mellon?
You know, I always enjoy the band stuff, and as she said earlier, I get to go to the band stuff, but McCoy is one of Yannen's friends, and Yannen got to be in the band crew this last year and the year before, and he's been kind of helping Yannen learn xylophone and marimba a little bit, so that's been kind of exciting. But yeah, the band always continue to astonish me at how well they do things, and the kids there are all very awesome. So yeah, I enjoy that a lot.
I think that there's and I could ask the girls this, but you know, when kids go to state or some wild accomplishment, we have the parades here during a power hour where we march through the hallways and the band and the cheerleaders actually lead it. And I do think that it gives other students a perspective of not just who is being recognized for going down to compete, but they get to see our band more often because they're in the hallway, they're performing, and it's a good thing.
Thank you. Mr. Longer?
As I watched him play, I was reminded of my daughter playing marimba as a solo in a middle school band concert. One of the, at that point in her life, one of the scariest things she ever had to do. But she grew as a result of it. And it's great to see the support for the fine arts and music and students. They grow intellectually and emotionally as a result of being involved in those things. So it benefits the students in a lot of different ways. I'm proud of the fact that this district supports the fine arts, and we're known for our support of those things as well as technology. And I think Dr. Buffington deserves our praise for that, as well as her efforts downstate this legislative session. So she has my appreciation for those things. Somewhere there's a program from the recent Key Club activity in Indianapolis that I handed around. I was invited as a guest to attend the Kiwanis meeting this week and had the opportunity to hear the Key Club members talk about their experience and the trip down there. And Bob Marzalak asked me to bring that to the school board meeting so that everybody had a chance to take a look at it. You'll notice a familiar face pictured in the program. And it's a good picture of Shujing, so notice that as well.
Shujing had a couple of performances down there this weekend. She had to do like both.
Yes.
Youth and government and Kiwanis.
I'm going to let her speak to her activities, but wanted to bring everybody's attention to that program. It's kind of impressive.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Longer. Mr. Cosby?
Yeah, last week we did have a Education Foundation meeting. I was actually unable to attend, but I did get some highlights. We are still looking for a board president. We do have, I believe, a new member that's going to be joining us here in March, Michelle Wilson. I don't know if any of you know her or not, but we're excited to have another person advocating for our group. And as Dr. Buffington mentioned, our bingo is upcoming here, March 14th, next Saturday, at the Moose in Hobart. Doors open at 5 o'clock. Bingo starts at 7. It's a great event. It's a lot of fun. So if you guys know of anybody, or you can come out and join us, that would be greatly appreciated. It's one of our biggest fundraisers of the year for the Education Foundation. So we're looking to hopefully have a great night for them. Just wanted to comment on the theater and the fine arts stuff. I'm a sports guy. I mean, I've been a sports guy my whole life, and definitely a big football guy. But it's great to see. You talk about like the feeder system and the younger kids as they work their way up. I think about that from my perspective and everything I've done with football. You don't realize that it's going on in other things here in the school district, and that's amazing to see that our kids have that opportunity to find their niche. Not everybody's a jock, not everybody's an athlete. Give kids an opportunity to find what they can do and what they love to do, and give them some extracurricular in their life. I think it's pretty impactful what we do here for our kids. So say thank you to all the fine arts teachers and people. They were pretty impactful.
Thank you, Mr. Cospaid. Mr. Rogers, you're up.
I think we missed, or I missed it during the, when we were talking about personnel. We missed the fact that Betty Funkhauser is retiring.
Yeah, I did see that.
I think she's been here like 800 years. 500 in the pool.
She can almost 100% outrun me, I'll tell you that. She is amazing.
Yeah, just so this is her 40th year, and a very, very tough decision when you do something that you love. But she decided that this would be it, and very bittersweet, because it's hard for us when somebody's been such a formative person in our district. But I don't think she'll be a stranger, and she deserves to be retired. I think she'll join your ranks there, Mr. Rogers. But I'm hoping that she's not a stranger, and we will definitely give her tons of accolades and send her off when we recognize our retirees. She will be missed on a daily basis, but I don't think she'll be far away.
I can give her some tips.
Yeah, I bet you can. You're gonna teach her how to make popcorn, I'm sure.
That's it.
There you go.
We'd like to thank, I'm sure the whole board would like to thank you for all the work you did downstate in getting our Congress and legislator straightened out.
Part of the way.
Well, I mean, they were willing to listen, and so, and I had great support, and so, I couldn't have done it without a team of people helping me, and, I won't go into who all those people were, but, it's a process, and sometimes, when you're legislating and you're trying to make laws for the whole, there are individuals that get hurt by some of the laws that you make. And so we have to bring it to their attention, and that's what we needed to do. So it definitely was an experience, and we'll do whatever we have to do to make sure that this district prospers and can be all that it can be without being hurt by pieces of legislation. And I know it wasn't anything intentional. They just don't realize that some of these things happen as a result of some of the laws they make. So the session is over. I know you will find this hard to believe, but I am hopeful for the next session. And in the next session, I really hope that they take on Senate Enrolled Act 1 in a more formidable way. They just had a very short session, and they could not spend a lot of time on it. And now that they're going to see some of the fallout with how many schools are doing referendums, and when you have schools that are losing a lot of their property tax revenue, that's how they pay things that should not be coming out of the education fund. And so I will say this, utilities are a huge part of all of this, right? And they keep going up. And what about casualty insurance? What about cybersecurity? What about your internet? What about all of these things that are operational, right? And so if you don't get any money in your operating budget, you have to take more out of your education fund to pay those. You're only supposed to transfer 15%. And then when I'm asked the question if we could transfer 20%, well, of course we could, but not without cutting programs and staff. And I know they don't want to do that. You know, when you're looking at all of these new diploma requirements, which we can easily do that here. We have a great early college program. We have great career and technical ed. We have a wonderful ROTC program here. Nobody wants to cut programs that are a part of something that you just legislated with new diploma requirements. What about intervening early in math that they legislated last session? What about iRead and all these things that you say they have to be retained if we can't give them more services? So I think it's really important for them to realize that taking more out of an education fund to supplement operating expenses is not the answer. And when you have schools that are exceeding 50 or 60% loss, which ours is almost 100%, then there should be something that there's a ceiling that they don't let that happen, right? And so that's what I hope for in the next session, that they will look at schools that are so deeply hurt by this that they provide some solution for that. And I think that we brought it to their attention.
I think it's amazing for us as board members to have you always able to find something, if it hurts the kids, if something is going on and it's not good for the kids, somehow you find a solution. And I know you have a lot of help on the other side of that table, but you don't stop until everything possible has been done.
Well, I can tell you that a lot of our partners through the years, you have to be well versed with your bond counsel. You have to have a good relationship with your financial advisor. And then obviously there was other attorneys involved helping me look at legislation. Because I don't write law, right? I can look back at law. But those were three significant people that were so instrumental in helping me to take a closer look at what could possibly be some solutions. And then it was just a matter of like hoping that they were receptive, right? And they were, and I'm very grateful for it.
I think they need be-ups.
There you go.
There you go.
And the last thing is congratulations on your award.
Oh, thank you very much. It was very heartfelt. The kids were so excited to give it to me. It was so cute. I had no idea what was going on that day. They just like kept pushing me out of the office. It's like, I don't even have the award. I don't know what I'm doing. And I usually know what I'm doing, so they pulled a fast one.
Yep.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Mr. Keen?
I just want to thank everybody over there for what you guys do. I know it's a lot of work. Russ, I know it's a ton of work going through all those numbers, which is why I'm glad that you did it for us. It's nice to have someone who can really take their technical expertise and their knowledge and dedicate the time to it to make sure we're getting the best deal and we're getting the best product for that money as well. So we appreciate you. Congrats to Dr. Buffington. I don't think there's an award big enough to acknowledge what you've meant to this district and what you've meant to the number of kids that have come through this district. You'd have to build a much bigger house. Okay. For the drama and the band, it's always fun. It's always amazing. I appreciate the picture. It made me smile in the middle of my workday, which is not very easy to do.
When she came out, I knew I had to try to snap that picture. As they stated, his daughter was the starfish, and she was delightful. It was just so cute.
Yeah, so it's always enjoyable, and it's always fun to see the kids do that. I think that my favorite costume was the stinger fish or whatever.
Oh, the stingray?
The huge thing on top of the bike helmet was amazing. I couldn't take my eyes off him the entire time he was on the stage.
Do you want to know what's really interesting? And I actually told the students this, and I'll share this with you real quickly. I had bought tickets for a couple of our administrators. They have younger kids, and it was playing, this Nemo, this version of it, was playing at the Theater in the Round up at the Marriott in Lincolnshire. And so I went with one of the directors with their kids, and okay, it was on fall break, and Illinois does not have fall break, and I was with like a gazillion kids. I could not believe that I was spending a fall break with a bunch of more kids, right? That weren't mine. If they were mine, it would be a different story, right? So I'm here with the directors, and the thing that I told the audience, I saw that by performers at the Theater in the Round. And our kids were every bit as good as them. And on top of it, the sets that they were doing with the water, you know how they had those fans that looked like waves of water? That was at the Theater in the Round. And so it was very comparable. And I just said, can you believe that our students were every bit as good as Broadway performers? Because I saw this be performed by Broadway performers, right? It was pretty funny. But yeah, the sets, that waving water
Very
was,
cool.
yeah, it was
And
excellent.
the lighting was amazing. Absolutely amazing. The way that they did it with the colors and making everything pop out, and it was very cool.
Yeah, it was
But I
great.
enjoy seeing them, and the kids have a great time, and they're laughing, and they're having fun, and all the little things that they think they messed up are my favorite parts of everything. When they have to call Nigel out from the side because the kids don't hear. Because I mean, they're fourth graders in the long run, and those are my favorite parts, because really seeing the kids have fun, and they're going crazy, and there's so much going on, and they're coming. The teachers are coming from backstage, and their hair's down there. You can tell they're sweating from chasing these kids around, and it's very enjoyable. And from my perspective, I really had a good enjoyment of what they did, and appreciate them for it. And the same with the band. We do those things. These kids go downstate, and they perform amazing. I mean, it's great to see these performances coming out of these kids and the programs we have here. So I'm very appreciative to not only have them here, but to be able to have my kids coming up in the system as well. It's something that I'm very thankful for.
They're excellent.
Miss Funkhauser, I'll just say a small bit. I saw it in there. My son had her for gym last year and loved her. So that will be a hard one to let go. But I'll have to make sure he's here to say goodbye when we recognize her. And then the last thing I want to say is that I learn and I read. I've been coming to meetings for a few years now on both sides, and it seems like every single year the target moves. Every year. Like, if you could plan 2 years in a row to try and really nail something down would be amazing. But every year the target moves. So that's all. That's just my complaint for the day. So.
Thank you, Mr. Keen. Mr. Schultz?
I can't repeat all that, but I second it all. And I will add Layla, I think her name was, Mr. Williams, and what a generous thing he did. And I don't know, is there somewhere we can see that? Because I wasn't able to.
Greg Crouch did actually go and videotape that, and so I don't know how long it'll take for him to process and get it all on a disc or whatever. But I do know that they taped it.
Okay.
So.
Well, once it's ready, I'll take a look at it.
Me too.
Yeah, it was really good.
And out of all that, I do want to say something about Mrs. Funkhauser, because she's been here a long time and just a great person. One more thing. All those instructors are amazing. I can't imagine any other school system has anything better than what we have, just like yourself.
Oh, well, thank you. They are pretty amazing out there.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Shujing, you're up.
I feel like every time it gets to my turn, I'm always like, I have so much to say. I have so many good things to say. So I'll try to narrow it down.
That's why you're here. Good job.
Yeah. I definitely want to start by saying thank you to everyone on our board for the hard work that you put in, especially tonight. I think the teacher testimonies earlier and the performance that we saw earlier really spoke for itself. Like, as a person that's a part of the performing arts, it's a phenomenal experience. And truly, like, as a senior looking back on my 4 years now, like, something I'm really gonna miss is band, you know? Looking back, like Dr. Buffington mentioned earlier, being a part of band or any other part of the performing arts is really an experience, like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You can't put it into words, you know? It's one of those risks that you take, and it pays off in the long run, and it pays off in many ways. And I'm just looking back now. I'm like, wow, if I could do more band, I would do more band, you know? So much so that I want to continue in college. So I just want to say thank you for all the hard work, because that kind of support is thanks to you, you know? And I remember, like, specifically with band, like, when I think about band, I think about, you know, trying to join my 8th grade year, like Mrs. Raylander was talking about earlier, and how, you know, at that time, it's like, you don't normally start in your 8th grade year,
Right.
but Mrs. Raylander sat with me, she worked with me over that summer, even when I couldn't even get a sound out of my instrument, you know, she sat there with me and was very patient with me, and, you know, making sure that we all have opportunities to things like band and the performing arts, that's incredible. You know, I'm looking back now, I'm like, I'm so glad that Mrs. Raylander took the time to work with me. And I think in itself, like, that's the testament to the kind of community we've built here. You know, we help out others, and like Mrs. Raylander did, she stayed with me, and now 4 years later, here I am, still in band. So I really appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. And Mr. Longer, thank you for the kind words earlier. When you were talking about, like, I was like, oh yeah, this is nice. I didn't realize you were talking about me. I was like, yes, someone got recognized. And I was like, wait. But yeah. And then this weekend, I mean, I got to go to the Indiana District Leadership Convention for Key Club and Youth in Government, which was really, really cool. Like wrapping up 4 years on those two. But even, you know, our community extends so much further than just Hobart. Like, when we go to state leadership conferences like that, like, we sweep the awards. Like, at conferences where kids from all over the state, from all different kinds of schools, you know, some even 5 times the size of ours, we show up and we sweep the awards. At DLC, at Youth and Gov, I could not tell you how many times I heard them call out Hobart. And I think none of that would be possible without our hard work and support. So, thank you.
Yeah, you do a great job. You know what I do want to mention, and if you're a new board member, you probably don't realize this, but I always wanted an orchestra here, and Chad Colross, who was a board member, he donated money for us to start orchestra. And the band teachers were so afraid that the band numbers would diminish and we wouldn't have a good program. And I think you guys realize that orchestra is very large now. I had to hire another teacher, that it's so large. And when you talk about the community supporting and the support that we have, that was an individual that knew that we wanted to start that, and that we were missing a group of kids that really wanted to play string instruments, right? And his family donated the money to get us started on having an orchestra. So I wanted to say, as we're celebrating Music in Our Schools Month, I would be remiss not to say how grateful I am to Chad Colross and his family, his wife. Lovely people that knew that was like a goal, and they helped us get that started. So I want to make sure that that's on the record, that we thank them, because they're a huge part of the performing arts now. So thank you.
All right, Grace?
Going off of what Shujing said, it's all about the support, as having music be recognized in our school. The performing arts is extremely important. Like Dr. Buffington said earlier, a lot of my life skills that I've learned have been through performing and have been through the music world. And even though it's not something I am going to do as a future career, it's something that I want to continue though, and I want to still learn from those experiences, and the fact that I'm able to do that as a high school student is extremely important. And it really has helped me grow as a person, and I know that is true for every single student who is a part of a music or performing arts within our school. And along with that support, one of the things that was actually passed tonight was the overnight field trip for HOSA, which is I'm the president of. The State Leadership Conference is one of those opportunities where you really get to learn in a different environment. Yes, we get 3 days off of school, but we also get to be in a hotel conference room with a bunch of people that have similar interests in us, that are going to schools and around Indiana. We get to talk to them, but we also get to do hands-on experience with medical things that we don't usually get to do. For example, last year I had to perform lifting and restraining a dog as my event, and then also preparing a surgical site on a dog, a fake dog. But it was definitely an experience that I didn't get anywhere else, and it has definitely allowed me to grow professionally, and it's super important that students in our school get to experience things like that. So the fact that you guys are so willing to hear and approve these types of activities are extremely important to me, and I know are important to the other students in this district.
Right, and for the record, she's going into veterinary science, so when she's working on animals, there's a reason why, everybody. It was not just animals down there.
Thank you. Mr. Porras?
Yes. So a great example of our music department here is the performance on the marimba by McCoy. And I also noticed he did not use any sheet music, which was awesome after only a month practicing the song. And the play between the piano and the marimba was great. It's like a little dance, kind of going back and forth. And he hit every note was great, and I think I cheated at half a point at state. I think just
I'm with ya.
they were
Yeah.
nitpicking
What
a little
happened
bit
there?
on that. Yes. Mr. Mellon, thank you very much for putting out the bids, going over all the information that was brought in, and then choosing the correct network and the internet for our school system. And then your presentation was easy to understand, so thank you so much. Okay. And I am looking forward to the bingo on March 14. I usually don't win, but that's okay. Let's all have a good time, for sure.
Thank you. Mrs. Hillen?
You brought up the two instruments together, and I just thought it was so beautiful to see them interact. And I was looking at both instruments as they were playing them, and how much they were, is it a marimba? How much it mimics the piano. And I said McCoy was the hammer, you know, so I'd like to start a nickname for him, the hammer. Because
there you go.
he really was the hammer to the piano.
You can maybe tell him that tomorrow, Eugene.
It was just so beautiful to witness the way they worked together in that piece. The other thing that I really appreciated was the statistics that were in that PowerPoint about 100% graduation rate for band members. That's really something.
They're usually very high achievers.
Yeah, that's really.
They understand time management. They understand hard work. They all have work ethics. You know, they're vying for chair positions, and you know they have to memorize their chords. They're just dedicated, hardworking students. It teaches a lot of self-discipline.
I agree, just like sports do. But music and the arts actually use a different part of your brain too that stimulates that kind of thinking. I think I missed that class, but one more thing about our music teachers. I remember when I was a senior in high school at Hobart High School, I was on the second floor in a classroom, and we had a new sub. And he came in, and we were all like, "Oh, he's young, you know, he's awful young to be teaching." And it was Mr. Wolf. It was before he was teaching, he was subbing. And to think, you know, I look at all the things that he has done for the school city of Hobart since that time. It's truly a gift for a lot of students, and it's helped direct them where they need to be in life. He's a very good person, and I do have the pleasure of living kitty corner from him, so I see him as my neighbor too now, so that's pretty cool.
He's a great individual.
He really is. So I appreciate all of them. Congratulations to you. That's huge that you are nominated. And the things that she said in her nomination about you and your support, that goes a long way.
Yep. Well, thank you.
And Ross, thank you.
Very sweet.
We know you work hard, band dad.
He does.
You do.
You can't work here and not work hard.
That's right. You're all good? All right, thank you. Congratulations, Dr. Buffington, on your award. I got Mrs. Schoon over there, had to help me keep it, you know, on the down low over there. She's fantastic.
Yeah,
Don't-
my office, I'm like, I'm
They're
out of
good.
control. I'm
They're
out of
good
control
secret
in there.
keepers.
Kathy called, or well, she emailed to see if we could make it a secret.
Uh-huh.
Tim and John and I went, well, but Peggy signs off on each agenda item.
Right.
So
Right. Oh, it worked. It worked. So your office is a great secret keeper.
I know, and you know what's really weird about all of this? I usually know everything, and
Ooh,
I did
and
not
to think
know
I helped pull
this.
it off, I love it.
I
All
did
right.
not know about coming here with the BOP, and I did not know about this. So you guys are really getting good.
Oh, see, I'm glad I helped pull that off.
Makes me nervous.
And as Mr. Rogers said, you go above and beyond, and not just in regards to performing arts, but for all kids, as evidenced by what you did with our legislatures who just don't seem to get it or know any better. And it wasn't just for our kids, it was for every kid in every district that's going to be affected by this. And we can't say thank you enough for that. The heart for kids lies with you, and you pass it down to the rest of our staff and our admin, and we are so appreciative of that. Secondly, Mr. Mellon, thank you for your hard work and making it look easy for the rest of us. And to McCoy and his playing of the marimba over there, a month. That was the first thing I thought of actually when he came up here. I was like, where's his sheet music? That was and I know nothing of band, and I'm like Dave down there. I have athletes as children, and so I know nothing. But I'm thinking, where's the sheet music at? I did notice that, and he said a month, and from what I understand, I think that's pretty much is that not a great feat to only take a month to learn that? I think that's pretty fantastic. And Ms. Raylander, who just gives to the high school kids as an accompanist, don't ask me to say that word, to just donate her time and her talents for the high school children. That's wonderful, and that's very much appreciative. And Ms. Nelson, who's been here forever, constantly just pulls off these fantastic performances with these kids. 6 was phenomenal. I would totally see it again, but only if it was here. Only if it was here. Right, Grace? And she does a phenomenal job, not just with high school kids. When my daughter was young, she took on Wizard of Oz and had, I don't know how many munchkins, but they were all elementary kids. And there had to have been 30 of them, my daughter being one. And I'll never forget the looks on her face when they got real close to where the pit is. And her eyeballs would always get real big. She would be afraid that the kids would fall in the pit. And she takes on challenges, and she's phenomenal at it. She pulls it off without a hitch. And I'm so thankful that our kids have her, that they have our facilities, that they have the other, the orchestra, the band, just the opportunities that we're able to provide here are like none other. And I'm just so thankful for that.
Yeah, they're a great group of people. They just really are.
And so with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting.